It's weekly fragrance rotation time, and this week I put out some bangers and some new stuff, so stay tuned. Hey, what's going on? Hunter here and welcome back to my channel where I upload weekly fragrance content. And if you love fragrances, go ahead, hit the subscribe button down below, and also be sure to follow me over on my Instagram page. And shout out to all my returning subscribers. I hope you guys all had a good week this week. And if you are new and you aren't familiar with this series, basically run down what fragrance I wore on each day, how many sprays, the kind of weather, and if you got any compliments or not. So how about we get right into Sunday? So Sunday was in the mid 30s and kind of cloudy outside, and I was in the mood for something like classy and more of like a gentlemanly fragrance. So I went with Chanel's Platinum Aiguë Waste. Now, honestly, it doesn't get much more sophisticated than this, especially when it comes to aromatics. Of course, you get some of that spicy lavender, you get that sage, and it also has a very metallic quality to it, and just all in all, extremely high quality. Of course, being a Chanel, you kind of expect that in the designer realm. And I know a lot of people talk about this fragrance kind of being outdated, which I honestly don't really see. Maybe the original Aiguë Waste, but Platinum Aiguë Waste actually kind of has a modern touch to it because of all the metallic qualities. Just an amazing fragrance. Now, on Sunday, I did go to church, and I know last week we had that funny story about church, and I know some of you guys said that I'm gonna probably wear like Interlude Man with 10 sprays, but that wasn't the case. Maybe I'll have to do that sometime down the line to be that guy, but for some reason on Sunday, I just wanted something classy, and this is usually my go-to when I kind of want that vibe. I only did 6 sprays. The performance is decent, even though this isn't Eau de Toilette. It actually projects very, very heavy. Doesn't last the longest, but that's not the biggest deal. So that's why I wore to church on Sunday is Platinum Aiguë Waste. Monday was in the high 30s and actually sunny outside, and I pulled out a pretty hyped niche fragrance from a brand that honestly doesn't get much talk, but this one does, and it is Mind Games Blockade. So this is basically aventus, but with this very tropical, fruity mango note. However, of course, this is extremely expensive. I believe almost $400, and you can't even get it discounted. Not even my discount code works on So Avant-Garde for Mind Games, which is crazy. I have an alternative for you guys that kind of want this scent profile but doesn't want to spend $400. Check out Banana Republic's Midnight Hour, which is so similar and made by the same people. At a fraction of the price that you will pay for Blockade. Of course, this is higher quality. It might smell a little bit better, less synthetic, but it still knocks down that kind of mango aventus DNA perfectly, both of them. It's crazy, nobody compares the Midnight Hour to Blockade. Maybe not a lot of people have got their nose on both. I know I talked about that in my recent live stream. Yeah, just a heads up. So on Monday, I did do 10 sprays of Blockade. The performance is actually pretty good, up there with aventus, if not even maybe better than aventus. That's kind of hard to tell because my aventus batch is on 19S31 and it's actually a beast. Also got no compliments, even though this is a compliment magnet around the right people. But that's what I chose for Monday is Mind Games Blockade. Headed into Tuesday was in the high 40s and cloudy, and I pulled out a brand new fragrance in the collection, and it's actually coming from a perfumer's brand, and it is Christian Provenzano's. This is Oud Alade. So Christian Provenzano, as we know, has created a lot, obviously from Sparrow, a lot on his resume. He's a master perfumer, and he has his own brand. I know he used to have his own brand as well called Christian Provenzano, but he just relaunched a bunch of new fragrances and a new design with these gorgeous bottles, as you can see, with these nice kind of green gemstones on the cap. Now, Oud Alade actually really surprised me, and it's kind of hard to surprise me when it comes to the note of oud, since I've got my nose on so many ouds. I own so many ouds, and a lot of them are just very redundant. This one, though, is a very fruity, earthy oud, guys. You get this nice fruity raspberry in the top with this dry saffron that adds a little bit of spice. That dries down to somewhat of a barnyardy oud, which I like, alongside a very kind of earthy, mossy note. And on that day, I did do my usual 10 sprays again. This stuff was very, very potent. Obviously, it is an extrait de parfum. And I did get 2 compliments. The first person actually told me that my fragrance smelled very nice and told me that it smelled very strong. And she told me that from a good, like maybe 12 feet away from me. So this stuff must have been projecting heavy And then I asked her what it smelled like. She said it kind of smells very earthy and mossy, which I was kind of surprised because she actually picked up on the mossy note, which does have a dominant mossy touch in the base of this one. And then I have another coworker that complimented me, said whatever I'm wearing today smells good. And then she told me a story about this guy that she was around or whatever. I don't know who she said, but she told me that he was showing her his fragrance collection and things like that. She's like, oh man, you got nothing on my dude Hunter. So she kind of shouted me out and showed him my channel, which I thought was hilarious. But surprisingly, Oud Alade actually got a few compliments, which I wasn't honestly expecting because how barnyardy and earthy this one dries down to. But that top note with the fruity touches is literally just a perfect blend. I highly recommend checking out Oud Alade if you're an Oud lover like myself. Wednesday was in the mid 50s and cloudy outside, and I also put out a new fragrance, which is actually a clone, and it is coming from Arome Fragrances. This is Cognac XO. Can we guess what this is cloning? It is, of course, cloning by Kilian's Angel Share, and it's a very, very good clone. It absolutely nails that kind of boozy cognac that's been kind of soaking in oak barrels for years. That's the exact vibe. Obviously, by Kilian's Angel Share gives off, and this one smells nearly identical for obviously a fraction of the price. I think these are around like 50 bucks or so, which is a pretty good value, I must say. Now, I know they get a lot of talk from their Napoleon line, I believe. I do actually have a decant of that one, but I haven't tested it yet, which is, of course, cloning Aventus, so I'm gonna have to try that one. Since this one is so good, I'm sure the Napoleon is also very good. But on that day, I did do 10 sprays of this one to see how it actually wore, the wearing experience, the performance, etc. The performance was good, on par with by Kilian's Angel Share, so no complaints there. Because I know some colognes of performance are just lacking, and this one isn't the case. I believe these are extrait de parfums, maybe. It just looks very highly concentrated when you kind of slush the oil around, but it might be an eau de parfum. Still, great performance. Also got no compliments on that day, but man, I was smelling like a boozy delight the entire day. Thursday was in the high 40s and actually raining outside, and I pulled out a fragrance that I actually don't have a full bottle of, which is mind-blowing. I need a bottle of this stuff ASAP. It is Yves Saint Laurent's Tuxedo from this Decant X decant right here, man. This fragrance is so heavenly that I can't even describe the emotions I get when I smell Tuxedo. Obviously, it's a very spicy, earthy patchouli. It's just so seductive. Like, this is a great, great kind of like sexy date night sort of fragrance. But obviously, being within the Yves Saint Laurent higher end line, it is pretty expensive. And I believe they also are raising the prices pretty soon. Just like the Chanel Les Exclusives and the Dior Privé line, obviously Louis Vuitton as well. The prices are just getting insane. So I'm gonna have to snag a bottle of Tuxedo very, very soon before that happens. This might honestly be one of the best designer fragrances out there, regardless of price. But I might be a little bit biased because I'm a patchouli lover, one of my favorite notes of all time. As I always talk about, I love, love, love patchouli. Anyways, on that day, I did do 10 sprays. I actually brought this decant with me to work. So I did 10 sprays originally, and throughout the day, I kept reapplying this one because the top of this stuff is so mouth-watering. By the end of the day, I honestly probably was rocking around like 14 sprays, but I didn't do them all at once. Kind of reapplied it maybe like halfway through the day and things like that. Also got no compliments, which is surprising because I can just see this fragrance being a compliment beast. But I think since I'm around like usually the same people all day long, they're just used to me smelling good and they kind of get tired of always complimenting me. But trust me, if you're around some new people rocking Tuxedo, they might chase you down and lose their mind. So that's what I wore for Thursday, is Yves Saint Laurent's Tuxedo. Friday happened to be in the mid 50s and cloudy outside, and I put out yet again a new fragrance in the collection from a house that has been gaining so much hype. And honestly, from the ones I've tried so far, I think is worthy, and it is coming from Supers Budapest. This is, of course, Khamzat Smash. If you aren't familiar with Khamzat Chimaev, he is a UFC fighter, and me being a huge UFC fan, I just had to try this one out, and it did not disappoint. Like, this is seriously so sexy and the perfect fragrance to wear before you smash somebody, if you know what I mean. And that is kind of his saying, is smash rather than smash, because this is very spicy. It has some aromatic kind of top notes in it with the lavender. You also get this kind of very fresh neroli note along with some blood orange, which does dry down very spicy from cinnamon. And then you also get this very creamy, seductive vanilla base. And if you are actually interested in this house, I do have a discount code actually with them. Use code HUNTER10. That's going to save you 10% off of any purchase on their website. I am going to be reviewing this one very, very soon because it deserves it. Now back to the day, I actually only did 3 sprays of Khamzat Smash because these atomizers, guys, are insane. I mean, one spray from this is almost like 3 sprays of a regular fragrance. So if I would have did like 6 or 10 sprays, it kind of would have been double my usual spray routine. I mean, literally, I'm gonna show you the sprayer just because it's insane. Like, what is that? That's probably honestly the best sprayer I've ever seen. I had to step away because I don't really want to get that on me because I'm not wearing that today, but insane sprayer, only 3 sprays this one, and it is strong. Also got no compliments when I was out running errands and things like that, but still a fantastic fragrance and one of my favorites from the house of supers that I tried so far. So wrapping the week off on Saturday, it was in the low 30s and cloudy outside, and I pulled out Orientica's exclusive Oud Emerald, which is one I haven't worn in some time, and I kind of forgot how good this fragrance actually was. I believe this does get compared to both Creed Arofa and Parfums de Marly Sedley, which I'm not really familiar with either of those, so I can't tell you if it's true or not. But as a standalone fragrance, this is right on my alley because it opens up with this very zesty kind of ginger note. Almost like an overdose of ginger actually, and believe it or not, ginger has started to become one of my favorite notes in fragrances. And it's funny because back in the day, like maybe 2 years or so ago, I wasn't a fan of ginger, but now totally changed my mind. And it also does dry down into this very aromatic kind of bay leaf, extremely green, obviously hence the bottle is green as well, with a very refreshing mint note. Might actually be my second favorite behind exclusive Oud Blue within the 4 I own. But on that day, I did do 6 sprays of this one. The performance is respectable being in the straight to parfum as well. No complaints with that. Didn't really do much besides kind of chill, watch some UFC, and things of that nature. So no compliments with this one, but man, if you love like green, kind of vert fragrances, absolutely check out this one, especially for the price. So that's gonna do it for my weekly fragrance rotation. As always, leave a comment down below the fragrances you guys chose to wear. Leave a like as well, subscribe if you haven't already, and of course, I'll catch all of you back here in my next upload. Take care, everybody.